Ya etadadam asijacharacharam. Samaya yatma shayaya vitakya. Tayaiva soyam kila goptam ujjata. Katam numam dhamma parojikam sati. Sheltered under his own protection. Avitakya, inconceivable. Ayam, by the same Maya. Eva, certainly. Saha, he. Ayam, this king. Kila, certainly. Goptam Ujjata, prepared to give protection. Katam, how? Nu, then. Mam, me. Dhamapara, one who is strictly following religious principles. Jikam Sati, desires to kill. Translation. In the beginning of creation, you created all these moving and non-moving living entities by your inconceivable energy. Through this very same energy, you are now prepared to protect the living entities. Indeed, you are the supreme protector of religious principles. Why are you so anxious to kill me, even though I am in the form of a cow? Purport by Swami Prabhupada. The planet Earth argues that there is no doubt that one who creates can also annihilate by his sweet will. The planet Earth questions why she should be killed when the Lord is prepared to give protection to everyone. After all, it is the earth that is the resting place for all other living entities, and it is the earth that produces grains for them. Yaitat adab ajab characharam samaya yatma shayayat itakaya tayaiva soyam kilagoptam ujyata katam numam dhamma parom chikam sati. Translation again. In the beginning of creation, you created all these moving and non-moving living entities by your inconceivable energy. Through this very same energy, you are now prepared to protect the living entities. Indeed, you are the supreme protector of religious principles. Why are you so anxious to kill me, even though I am in the form of a cow? Om Magyana Timrandasya Kananjana Salakaya Kasumritam Yana Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasapatale Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Swami Namne. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharane Nivisesa Sunyavadi Prasachane Shatarane. Here, there are some interesting points here being brought up by Mother Earth in the form of cow. Sometimes in the scripture, they find contradictions, and that's what Mother Earth is pointing out here. She's saying that you are the Supreme Lord, you create and you protect. And of course, you also have the one who creates, you also can destroy everyone. It's your free will. After all, Krishna is Swaran, is fully independent. So as you appear as a king, Prithu Maharaj, incarnation of the Supreme Lord, he appears as a king. And the king, one of the king's duties to protect the citizens. And that is why this event is happening, this lila is happening. Because the citizens will be deprived. The earth was not producing enough food grains. The earth was not performing its duty. So, and Prithu Maharaj took up the task in order to protect his citizens. He took the Mother Earth to task. That's the duty of king. That's how powerful king Prithu Maharaj was. They was able to even challenge Mother Earth. What are you doing here? You've been lazy. You are not performing your duty. You are withholding. You're holding back. You're holding. So, of course, Mother Earth took the form of cow. And the interesting thing is that here, the two forms, Mother Earth and cow, are considered two of the mothers. And they're supposed to be revered. They're supposed to be protected. Recently, just a few weeks ago, I attended a interfaith discussion. It has nothing to do with this, but the topic was religious freedom versus freedom of expression of art. And the whole idea was not so long ago, there was this the advertisement by the meat industry, having all the different spiritual personalities, Jesus Christ and Thor and everyone, and Ganesh was there with his elephant head and was promoting meat. So there was a big uproar, of course. So the discussion was where do you draw the line? You know, you have religious freedom and so on. So anyway, I'm not going to go into that. But what happened after was one girl approached me, very confused girl. And she asked me, I said, well, I've been to Bali many times, 9 times in the last 2 years. And something to do with Hinduism and so on and so forth. So I spoke to her a little about meditation and mantra meditation. And I said, I have a friend who teaches that. I also do coaching and, So I gave her my number. And a few hours later, she texted me. And she asked, can I book a session with you for meditation? I said, all right. So we booked a time, and then Rita Maharaj giving program at Bhakti house. So I invited her, but it was a bit too over her head. I gave her the perfect question, perfect answers, and I followed up on it. I spoke to her, taught her how to chant the Maha Mantra. And I asked her specifically, I said, do you accept me like as a coach? Do you trust me as a coach? She said, yes. So are you willing to just follow the direction I give you? He said, yes. I said, okay. So as a coach, one of my job is to try to enter into your mind and try to understand where you're at, so I can prescribe the right amount or right instruction or program for you. Do you agree with that? He said, yes. I said, so as long as you are following this process, don't go on the internet and search this and search that, because it's only going to confuse you. She agreed to that. A few days later, she sent me a link, and she said, you should listen to this ring. I really get it. It really resonated with me, the mantra they're chanting, and I feel really good. So I looked into it. It was just some Mayavadi chanting Sitaram. So I said, that's very nice. You found something very nice. He said, yeah, I like it. I said, good luck to you. Bye-bye. And she got very surprised. She said, what do you mean bye-bye? I said, you already found the process. You don't need me. She said, no, I need you. So then I set up a time and we spoke on the phone again. And she said, I'm reading a book. Actually, he wrote to me. She said, I read something in the book and I have a question. I set up a time with her and I said, what's the problem? The Brahma said, in the discussion, he said the author was talking about women and telling this man to leave home, and so the whole women's liberation stuff come up, and about men, women, equality, everything all comes up. So I just gave her a broader perspective how Vedic culture was, how men were more qualified to take up that role, and I said you're trying to bring in your bad experiences into understanding spiritual principles, and that don't work. So we're talking about a very ideal society. I can understand that in the present situation, it's very hard to find perfect man and perfect woman. So that's why I wanted to fight for themselves. And that's why you get all the mess. And I said, look, women's been trying to fight for their rights for many years. What is the divorce rate? They're not being very successful either. So in an ideal society, the women actually respected. And that's why I come to this point here. They're actually respected, they're revered. That's why they call mothers. You don't insult your mother. Right? You offer respect to your mother. That's why something we call the lady Mataji. But very often when we use the word Mataji, we don't use it in the right way. Hey Mataji! Will you do that to your mother? Will you address your mother in that impolite way? Hey mom! Of course sometimes teenagers nowadays they do that. Do you? How do you address your mother? With respect? Good. Good boys. Stay that way. Remember that when you're teenagers. So, Yes, and here is Mother Earth, and it's taking a form of a cow. So she's saying, yes, you have a right. You are the creator, you are the maintainer. You have a right to destroy too. But I see that you are chasing me because you want to protect the citizen. So you're acting as a protector. Why? So why are you giving me trouble? Why are you trying to kill me? If you are the protector, why are you trying to kill me? So it becomes a dilemma. What to do? And you find many of these situations in the Vedas. For example, when Arjuna went to capture Ashwatthama, Bhima wanted him killed. Then Maharaj Jesus said we should not kill. And Draupadi initially wanted him killed, but then she changed her mind. Out of women compassion, she felt compassion for Droni. Her husband already died, now he's only have one son left. So if he's dead, then who is going to protect her? Now Arjuna was in the dilemma. Krishna is telling Arjuna, now you're in the dilemma, what are you going to do? You're going to kill. Bhima wanted him killed. The other side didn't want him killed. So Arjuna just cut off the jewel from his head, and he lost all luster. So he was alive, but he might as well be dead in that situation, wandering around, still wandering around on the earth planet somewhere. Who knows? Maybe one day walk in Melbourne, some street name that may be Ashwatthama. Who knows? Yeah. So, and as I was driving in here, I was listening to a lecture by Prabhupada given in Los Angeles. And it was interesting what he said, because in the lecture he was talking about Shabda Pramana. Shabda Pramana. Evidence. Evidence from sound. In other words, evidence coming from the Vedas. So he said, bones, for example, are considered impure. If we touch bones, we have to immediately take a bath because we have become impure. But then we use bone because it belongs to an animal, the body of an animal. But we have bones in the temple. In fact, we have bones on the altar. We have the conch shell, which is nothing but the bones of a sea animal. So it seems to be a contradiction. Then you have cow dung. The dungs of anyone is considered impure. That's why immediately we do a toilet, we immediately have to take bath, wash ourselves. And same thing in the morning. First thing we wake up, we clean ourselves, because in the night when we sleep, it's as if we are emanating through from all the pores of our body. We are considered impure. That's why we take a bath first thing in the morning. But then, so Su is considered impure, but then you have cow dung, which is considered pure. We even use cow dung to clean the altar, clean the temple room, and clean the house. Right? And then he said, onion is considered vegetable. We are vegetarians. Why is forbidden that we should not eat onion? So this seems to be a contradiction. That's why we always go back to this scripture, the evidence from the scripture, which explain all this. And there's always, and he said, Prabhupada said, there's always a reason behind it. If we go find out and research it. Why? He said, for example, cow dung is so much antiseptic. Clean the house in the villages, they keep warm in the winter, it's cooling in the summer, and they keep away the flies. Very practical. So is there so similar if we find a situation here? Mother Earth is saying, you already protect the citizens, why are you giving me trouble? Why are you giving me a hard time? I'm doing my duty, and it will be revealed later why Mother Earth was holding back from giving. And basically, just as a quick synopsis is, Mother later was saying that Brahma produces all these roots and seeds and grains and everything meant for sacrifice. It's meant to be offered as a sacrifice. But the citizens, they were using it but not offering any sacrifices. That's why we're holding back. And another interesting point that in this Leela here is how one event can create a whole chain of events. It goes back all the time to King Vena. King Vena was a very strong, powerful king, but he was not very religious. In fact, he stopped religious practices. And so no sacrifices were made. And that's why the grains were all being misused, and Mother Earth was holding back. And we see that in the situation in the world today. All the so-called leaders in society, they have no idea what they're doing. And that's why in every country you have all these opposing side fighting. And then the politicians, the leaders, so-called leaders, they call it the middle, and they don't know which way to go. And the way they decide which way to go is who is going to give me the most votes. And once they're elected in office, they change the positions. And that's go on. There's no leader strong enough to take a stand based on religious principles or based on spiritual principles, because they are all one blind man leading another blind man. So because of that, one event leads to another event, and to another event, and it becomes a whole mess. Whole society becomes a big mess. And even when someone tries to practice, take up spiritual life, and they read the scripture, they read certain things like this girl, reading about renunciation and so on. He thought, what is this? Why is there no equality? And she started talking about how they said, maybe I cannot relate to that. I need to find a woman's spiritual leader. There must be a woman's spiritual leader who can teach me and guide me all these things. I said, get off the bodily platform. You've been telling me that you want to achieve the spiritual level. So why you keep telling me about all these bodily men and women? Behind all this, we're all spirit soul. We're all meant to realize God and come to understanding who God is and how to develop a relationship with Him. Why you keep talking about the bodily platform? So gradually she come around and understood. I said, all right, when you explained it that way, it makes sense. And she was curious, said, in one of your last message you texted me, said, bye-bye. What do you mean bye-bye? I said, look, we have an agreement. You broke the agreement. I said, what agreement? I said, we had an agreement. If you're going to accept me as a coach, you follow the process I give you. You take it as far as you can go. I'm not trying to control you, but you follow the process as far as you can go, and you feel that I cannot give you more, you're free to go somewhere else and find something else. As long as you accept me as a coach, you follow what I'm telling you. Otherwise, I can't help you. I'm wasting my time. That's what I'm saying. You broke your agreement, you start going into YouTube and searching this and that and so on. It's just confusing. I said, yeah, okay. So what do you want now? I said, I want you to remain my coach. Please continue to guide me. So again, this here you're making a stand. Instead of being wishy-washy, make a stand. That you want it, this is how it's going to be. I'm not going to waste my time trying to convince you about why you should not be doing this, why you should not be doing that. What a waste of time. Where's the end to it? So here we have this situation here. What is Maharaj-Prithu going to do? On one hand, he has to protect the citizens, he has to provide for the citizens. On the other hand, now Mother Earth is taking shelter. And we have seen that Krishna is protector of everyone. He is known to be, what's the verse in Bhagavad Gita? That I envy no one. Right? You don't see anyone as his enemy. He's equal to everyone. So why is he seemingly, it shows that he's been partial to his citizens at the expense of Mother Earth. In that purport, Prabhupada was saying that yes, as that Krishna is actually equal to everyone. Because after all living entities are eternal part and parcel. He distributes to everyone. But he's especially inclined towards his devotees. And in this sense, devotees means someone who has taken shelter of him. So the citizens of his kingdom have taken shelter of him as a king. So he has felt our responsibility to protect and provide for his citizens. But now Mother Earth is also taking shelter of him. What is he going to do? So Prabhupada continued in that purport and said that rain does not discriminate. It just, when it comes over a place, it just pours down, whether it's onto an ocean where it's already plenty of rain or water, or maybe in a dry area. But then your crevices or in the cave will not be able to receive this rain because you're sheltered from it. So Krishna is equal to everyone. He's giving mercy to everyone. Who is stopped from taking up Krishna consciousness? Nobody. It's freely distributed to everyone. You cannot you say, I cannot afford it because we don't charge anything. Maybe that's a problem. We don't charge anything. That's why sometimes people think it as cheap. Right? It's the same thing like this girl. He told me, says, so how much should I pay you? I said, nothing. She was so surprised. I said, what do you mean, nothing? I said, no. I'm giving you what is your rightful inheritance. It belongs to you. You just said you've forgotten it. I don't own the Hare Krishna mantra. It's your constitutional right. I'm giving it back to you, that's all. I said, but later on, if you feel that you can help and you really appreciate it, you're free to offer a donation to the temple. And help us with our activities, so share this with more people. Yeah. So that's the thing. It's equally given to everyone, but who is taking it? Some are taking it, some are not. And another thing I pointed out to her, I said, you know, you're a very, very special person. I said, oh, thank you. And why did they say that? I said, look, how many people are there in Melbourne? About 4.5 million. How many of that is seeking spiritual life? And out of that, those who are seeking spiritual life, how many of them are actually serious about it? And making some endeavor to put something into practice. Very, very small number of people. So that's why I say you're very, very special. You don't think about it that way. How special devotees are. It's a 1 in a million, or maybe 1 in many millions. So, because we open our arms to receive the mercy that Krishna is giving, it's equally distributed. Why is it sometimes you see some devotee making very rapid advancement and someone is not? And one is taking it seriously, one is taking it not. Or someone may be going smoothly for a while, and then suddenly hit an obstacle, and they start to retract instead of keep moving forward. Sometimes things get difficult. Sometimes the most of material nature, ignorance and passion is very strong and heavy. And we take steps back. You ever heard of the saying, if you're passing through hell, keep going. So if you're going through some very difficult time, don't stop. Keep going. Then you're going to come out of it. Yeah? Everything is temporary. The trouble we feel, the difficulty we feel, the force of nature that's troubling us is temporary. We get out of it. And the best thing is that we have the tool. As Bhagavad Gita gives so many instructions, how we can overcome all these obstacles, how we can overcome the force of material nature. by situating ourselves in transcendence, by absorbing ourselves in spiritual activities. Then we get out of the modes of material nature. It's easily available to us, but we require a bit of effort. Some put in more effort, some less effort. So who can say here that we don't have the tool to conquer Maya? Who can say, I don't have the tool, sufficient tool, to go back to Godhead? And who can say, I don't have the tool to become a pure devotee? Nobody here can honestly say that. We all have it. The real question is, what are we going to do with it? What are we going to do with the precious gift that we've received, that Prabhupada has given us? And make our life successful. So that taking shelter, when we take the step to take shelter of Krishna, Krishna completely give us full protection. We come under the care. We come under the shelter of the divine energy of Krishna. We're not under the control of the material energy anymore. To that degree, we take shelter of Krishna. To that degree, we are under the shelter of Krishna. So it's just like in the rain, when we're walking out in the rain, we are under the umbrella. Are we fully under the umbrella? Or are we halfway? We're taking shelter of Krishna and we're hanging with the Maya. And we ask, why am I getting wet? Or we ask, I've been practicing Krishna consciousness for so long, why am I still having material desires? Why am I still having material attachment? Because we're not taking full shelter. We're taking half shelter, quarter shelter, three-quarter shelter. As simple as that. So either we are under Ashraya of Krishna, the shelter of Krishna, or Durashraya. As Prahlad Maharaj said, Durashraya yevahi atamanina. Forced shelter, atamanina, mental shelter. In the mind, we trick ourselves or we cheat ourselves and think, oh, I'm foolish, taking shelter of Krishna. But we have to be honest. And sometimes challenges are there, but we have to be very determined to overcome those challenges. And it's amazing this. A few months ago, I started writing my memoir. And I thought it's been in the making for many years. And finally, as I sat down and started writing, I thought, I'll probably have forgotten a lot of stuff. But amazingly enough, as I started writing, just memory just flooding back. And I'm just mind dumping everything in. It needs some heavy editing, but it's mind dumping. So many things. And remember the time when things were very smooth, and there were times when things were really, really tough. I mean, really, really tough. I just sent the first couple first 2 chapters to a devotee friend, a very close friend, and she wrote back and said, Prabhu, I didn't know you went through all these challenges. I said, those first 2 chapters, this is nothing. I said, there are more challenges yet to come in the later chapters, which you will read about. and think back, it's kind of when I started writing, what happened is that it reinforces my faith. It reinforces my determination. How, even though I was faced with those circumstances and what I did and how I went about it and what was my mindset, what was my attitude, how they overcome those difficulties and still remain Krishna conscious. I could have gone either way. I could have just given up because the challenges were so hard. And could have just given up. And it's just for my own self-purification, and it was so good to reinforce my own faith and determination in the process. So difficulties will be there, it is guaranteed. I can guarantee you that. You join the Krishna conscious movement, don't expect a free ride. Don't expect a smooth ride all the way. Back to Hare, pepper with flower, petals all over. No. You'll face difficulties. Not one, not two, not three, probably more. At every stage, you'll face difficulties. And when I look back, those difficulties was, I reached a certain stage in my spiritual life. And then these challenges just come, hit me like a rocket. And it was like, are you going to be stuck there or are you going to move forward? So when I overcome those challenges, it seems like I was lifted up to another level in my Krishna consciousness, in my surrender. And then go on smooth and then bam, hit again, and it was another level. So at every level, because you have to be a better self to reach a higher level. So we have to keep improving and getting better and better. Right? We cannot remain stagnant in our spiritual life. We are like an arrow moving. What happens when the arrow stops? It drops. So we have to be an arrow in motion. So our spiritual life is continuous, progressive. As soon as we get a bit stagnant, Krishna will interfere and put some challenge and wake us up. We get a slap in the face, then wake up. So we can blame the person who slapped us in the face, or we can thank the person for waking me up. So it's all about where we situate ourselves. Krishna is definitely protected. Come on. Demons come to kill him. He offered them liberation. And Putana came to kill him, but because she offered a meal to Krishna as a mother, she gained liberation as a mother. Trinavada, so many demons in the past time Krishna tried to come and kill him. They all got liberated. Why not a devotee where they can shelter and given his life in the service of Krishna? Why wouldn't Krishna give him protection? So when we are faced with challenges, when we are faced with difficulty, don't ever forget and don't ever give up the idea of faith that Krishna will protect us. This Krishna will take care of us. And so we find later how Krishna actually found a solution to this so-called dilemma. Provide for the citizen and not kill Mother Earth. Get everyone, it's all a matter of everyone performing their duties. It's the same thing when there's a conflict between people, between persons. Generally, both sides are not doing, both sides are doing something wrong. Both sides are not doing what they're supposed to do. That's why there's conflict. Otherwise, it will be smooth. It's the same thing like in any organization, material organization, spiritual organizations. If there's conflict between management and the employees, because both sides are not meeting or not doing their duties, or have false expectations. So in this case, the citizens were not performing sacrifices, and Mother was holding back. The simple solution is perform a sacrifice, Mother will provide, Mother Earth will provide, and everyone is prosperous, everyone is happy. That's why I say one event lead to another event and lead to another event. It just gets worse and worse. So before it gets worse, go to the root of the problem, and that's what series of verses will come in right after the next chapter. And where Mother Earth revealed that this is the reason why I'm holding back. So, are there any questions or comments?
experience of how Krishna protected you and how to increase your faith. Yes,
how Krishna protects his devotees. From the scripture?
From your experience.
From my experience. Maybe what protect. I'll share with you how I came to Krishna consciousness, how Krishna interfered. So I traveled from Malaysia to Europe looking for, as a young man, looking for wealth and sense enjoyment. But very quickly when I arrived in Germany, I realized it's a futile attempt. I was just suffering instead of enjoying. Then I traveled to Sweden. The first day I arrived in Sweden, I met this life member who was, he invited me to stay in his house. I read Bhagavad-gita, he was playing Vishnu Jan. Then he took me to the temple. I was very attracted. First time I went there. And second time I went there, I bought Krishna book. And I was traveling up and down Sweden, I was reading. I was really attracted and I was asking a lot of questions. So much so, I'm just putting it very quickly. So much so that when I left Sweden, I tried to become a vegetarian. But it lasted only for half a day. I didn't know what to eat. And I was getting hungry. I was starving, I couldn't. So by the end of the day, I just ate whatever was put in front of me. But I tried to chant and I thought about meditating on Krishna and I look at a picture of Radha and Krishna and look at the picture and then try to capture it in my mind. And look and try to capture it in my mind. I was not succeeding in doing that. So I was chanting and I was living outside with Maya. But in my heart I was attracted. And I tried to escape. So I flew to Paris looking for the address to the youth hostel. Then maybe tomorrow I will visit the temple. I went to the tourist information, got all the information, but as soon as I turned around to walk out the door, I looked at the watch, I saw 10 minutes of arti. Until today, I still don't know what happened. My intention, I already asked at the desk, my intention was, I'm going to go to the youth hostel, find a place to stay, and tomorrow I'm going to go to visit the temple. But as soon as I turned around, 10 minutes of arti, and I was off to the temple. So how supposed to just switch off my brain, and I went. And I stayed there for a while. Then someone told me about the new Mayapur. And there was a van going there, so I jumped in the van and I went. And that was a big mistake, because I ended up there in the middle of nowhere and I couldn't get out. I wanted to leave, but nobody wanted to give me a lift to the nearest train station. I was stuck there for almost 2 months. Every day going from morning program, chanting, service. And I even went up to Bhagavan. I didn't know he was a big shot. I went up to his room and asked if he can give me a lift. And finally, one day I came back. It was, I think it was Malati and a couple of Matajis. They were leaving. It was just after Prabhupada had disappeared. So I was there when we got the news that Prabhupada left. And that was actually the first time when I felt that when we went into the temple room to have a kirtan, actually I want to speak about all this. I was just writing on this part of my memoir when Prabhupada disappearance was coming up. So I was scheduled to give the class on Prabhupada disappearance there, and I was going to talk about this. But then I was hijacked by Prabhupada. So anyway, so at that moment we were chanting, and when you chant out Prabhupada, the long ones, Prabhupada, Prabhupada, and I just broke down and cried. And at that moment I realized that it's not a passing fad. is something that has really touched my heart deeply. So I was very, very attracted to Krishna consciousness, and I wanted to surrender, but at the same time, my senses was driving me crazy. My mind was driving me crazy, pulling me away. So as soon as I got the opportunity to leave the Nimaku, I jumped into my van. I didn't even invite myself. I said, I'm coming with you, climbed into the window to the back room, grabbed my stuff, and threw myself in the van, went to Paris. And from Paris, I tried to escape. Took a train to Switzerland, but I was stopped at the border. So throughout my whole journey after I left Germany, I was stopped at the border in Holland. I stopped from going to England. I was stopped from going to Germany, going back to Germany. I was stopped from going to Switzerland. I was stuck in France. Completely distraught, I went back to the temple. First thing, I went by the name Philip in those days. As soon as I walked in the door, the temple commander called up, Dr. Philip, where have you been? Go to the kitchen and wash pots. Went upstairs, done my stuff, washed pots. And after washing pots, it was after the Korahati, I came out and I saw this same old retired gentleman who introduced me to Krishna consciousness. I was staying in his house, sitting at the end of the Prashant hall. Went up to him and he said, the first thing he said to me was, don't worry, I'm bringing you back to Sweden. So during the time, there was a lot of book distribution going on. And I was always looking at the Sankirtan newsletter, imagining myself distributing books in Stockholm, in Sweden. So you can see the struggle there. I wanted to become a devotee and distribute books, but at the same time, my sense of mind was just driving me away. But Krishna just protected me in the sense that he put roadblocks everywhere I tried to escape. He closed up all my avenue of escape. I was just stuck in that from France, unless I fly back home. And I even thought I can get a ticket and try to escape Krishna and fly back to Malaysia, but if Krishna doesn't want it, the plane will blow up. I actually thought like that. So I flew back, and sure enough, I got pulled out by the custom. What are you doing here? I didn't have a return ticket, they always pull you out. So I didn't care anymore. I just went in, I just said, I came to become a monk with the Hare Krishna. Said, who's going to pay for your food and lodging? The temple will pay. What if you have to leave and go back to Malaysia? They will pay. Everything, I just didn't care anymore. They will take care of me, everything. And they actually called the temple. Temple president didn't know I was coming. They called and said, we have this guy here who said he's coming to the temple and you're going to take care of him. They said, yeah, we're expecting him. And they let me out. So Krishna was funneling me, closing all the avenue and just funneling me, okay, this is the only way you can go. And here there's no roadblock. Went right in. Joined the ashram, straight away got right into it. So Krishna can protect, and he also protect us at the other time. There was another time we were traveling Sankirtan. It was in winter in Sweden. And in winter means that the road can be icy on the road because it's been snowing. So when it snows, it's wet, and we go below zero, there's a sheet of ice on the road, right? And just for your information, if it's raining, when you're driving, when it's raining, if it's 90 kilometers an hour above, it's like you're driving on ice. If it's water, it's like driving on ice. So be careful when it's raining. So anyway, we had just overtook a trailer, a truck trailer. We drove into the gas station to tank up. So as we were coming out, this trailer just went by and we were behind. And in the front, there was a car coming out but stopped when we saw the truck, and the truck driver braked. And we saw the tail of the trailer just go like that. And we were heading towards it. So the driver had a sense of presence. of mine, he just drove off. He just turned the car off the road and drove in the drain. Unfortunately, we hit the big, huge concrete pipe. Smashed right into the car. Then I ran up to the road to try to warn other cars coming. And I saw this truck coming full speed ahead towards me. I quickly ran back down to the drain. It was pretty deep. And then again, this truck was like seeing the accident in the front. But he was a very experienced driver. He drove in such a way that the back of the trailer hit the truck in the front. And that stopped the momentum. So that was pretty scary. And another time where Krishna protection was going to Moscow. When still behind the Iron Curtain, before they open up, how we supposed to bring in a laptop, and how we managed to Krishna just closed the eyes of the custom officer, and we managed to bring in a laptop. And with the devotees, KGB was there on the last day of my program, and so on. But in those days, when we were a lot younger, and we didn't have children, we were not scared. I was not scared even at that time. I thought, whatever happened will happen. Krishna will be there to protect us. And you find that a lot if you speak to many of the older Prabhupada disciples in the early days of ISKCON. You hear about this kind of story, the attitude they have. They didn't care, they didn't feel any. They take all kind of risks for Krishna. And somehow Krishna just protected them. And Prabhupada always encouraged the devotees, and in the book by Shamasundar, Chasing the Rhinos, that's aim big. Somehow Krishna will provide and Krishna will take care. It's not exactly unseen, but it does see how Krishna interfered. And so he was not protecting my physical body, but he was protecting my spiritual well-being by blocking up all the avenues and funneling me. And when I understood that, I looked back at my travel, when I was traveling from Malaysia to India, through Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, all this way. As I started writing my memoir, I realized how much danger I actually went through to get to Europe, traveling in that direction. The opposite direction of Radha Maharaj. He went from the other direction. He went from the other direction looking for spiritual life. I was going the other direction looking for material life. How when we come to the Khyber Pass waiting for a taxi, we wandered into I think orange grove or something. We were really, really thirsty. And just out of nowhere, soldiers were pointing guns at us, machine guns. Luckily, we were traveling with an Afghan student who just started talking to him and came in between me and my friend, and then told him just go. And managed to pacify them. They wanted to take my friend to wherever they were going. And going up Khyber Pass, you're from India, you know Khyber Pass, right? Very narrow and very winding road around the mountain to Kabul. And the taxi driver was driving like he was in Monte Carlo, in the F1 race. He was speeding. There's only one car can go. It was speeding. And I looked down the ravine, you see the different layers of road down there. It was so scary. And I was thinking that if I crash here, my parents will never know, my family will never know where I ended up. I'll be just lost in the ravines down there somewhere. Yes, one final one. And then from Turkey, when we were walking towards the border of Greece, it was just after the war between Turkey and Greece. As we were walking with this backpack, and sometimes this had a bunch of us all carrying backpack, you can be mistaken for soldiers, right, with backpacks. And especially with a friend who has a guitar, looking pointy thing in the top. When we arrived, as we got close to port, the soldiers from both sides were starting appearing from behind bushes with guns. They were looking at us very nervously, pointing guns at us as we were walking towards the border. So I looked back there. I was how Krishna actually already protected me throughout the way, leading me to where I'm supposed to be. Yes,
on two verses before, Prabhupada said, Mare Krishna Lake Ke,
Rake Krishna Mare Ke. Yeah.
To take protection of Krishna.
Yeah, when Krishna wants to protect you, no one can harm you. When Krishna wants to kill you, nobody can protect you. Yes, Prabhu.
I would like to tell everyone a story. Sir, you say you have memories that you do remember and memories that have gone. Now let me tell you a story.
You want to?
30 years ago,
You want to?
I was in... Yes. Sit. Wait. 30 years ago, I was in Vrindavan. And at that time, I was married. And I felt the strong connection with Krishna. My wife at the time was not as strong. One night we were leaving Vrindavan and we were on a train, and in the middle of the night we both fell asleep. And in that deep sleep I heard someone underneath the table, the seats. You know you can sleep underneath the seats. And we put all our luggage and all our, but we had all our Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, and all the books were in a case. In the middle of the night, Krishna, as a super soul, I could not believe this, said to me, "You have just been robbed." So I wake up. I say to my wife, "We have just been robbed." She says to me, "How can you say that we've just been robbed? You were asleep." True to my word, I look underneath and all my Bhagavatams, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Bhagavad Gita, were stolen. But previously I'd seen the thief. And he looked at me and I thought he was just sleeping underneath our table, our chair. So we continue our journey. We end up in Sweden. Now, we ended up in Stockholm. If you know Stockholm, it's a long way to the temple. You had to take a train to the last stop and then you had to take the bus. And then you had to walk up the end of the road and get to the temple. So my wife had gone to England. I was in Stockholm. And I meet this gentleman in the garden, a Malaysian man. No Malaysian man in Stockholm, very few. I said to him, we started having a rapport. I said to him, "Sir, I had this story I had to tell you. Krishna spoke to me on this train that I had been robbed, and all my Bhagavatam and all my spiritual books were stolen." This man said to me, "That's an incredible story." He says, "Do you still have the Bhagavatam?" I said, "No, everything has been stolen." This man goes straight into the temple, and he brings out the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. As you know, the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam is extremely long. But Prabhupada has condensed it. Sometimes when you go into a temple, it is condensed and it's sitting on the temple. It is no different to Krishna. This man said, "Here, have this Bhagavatam." Up to today, 30 years later, I still read this Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Now this man who gave me the Bhagavatam, he doesn't remember, but it was this gentleman here. All glories to you. He doesn't remember, but I still remember. How can you remember that? Look, ladies and gentlemen, how can you forget that story? For 30 years it stayed on my heart, and I knew one day he will remember. If he did not remember, I will share that story with all of you. There are many difficulties in life. I've had my share. But when you see a great man like that who gives you the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam and the Bhagavad Gita again, take it up. Thank you.
The funny thing is that I've left Sweden by then. I was already in Denmark.
You were going to Norway.
Yeah, I traveled quite a bit. I was temple president in Denmark at the time. So I go to Sweden every now and then. It just happened that I was there visiting when he came.
You remember?
I don't remember, but I know I go to Sweden a few times a year. So it's rare. I'm not there all the time. It just happened I was there when you came.
And I still
So sometimes you see how amazing Krishna just connect people together. And it goes to say, and this story you told me, it really reinforced in me again the fact that every moment we meet someone, we never know at what part of the journey they are in their life and their spiritual life. So we should have the presence of mind to be kind, to be compassionate, to be generous. Even if we can't do much, we cannot give a Bhagavatam set to everyone. He didn't have much money. He said, I can't afford it. I said, just take it. That's what he told me. The kind words. Everyone can benefit from a kind word. You never know, the word you say can have such a huge impact on that person. You never know. That could be the turning point in the person's life. You know, an act of kindness goes a very, very long way. It may not just even change that person's life. It can change so many people around that person. You heard of the butterfly effect? And the butterfly flap, it creates a whole momentum of events. And again, it came back a chain of events. So we can always start a chain of events at every moment. A chain of auspicious events. And if every devotee just make a point, at least once in a day, to create an auspicious event. That's right. Even to your friend, someone you know very well, to your parents, to your kids, to someone you meet in the temple, create an event, and you can see the impact it will have over time, and how it multiplies and multiplies and multiplies. Make it a point, make the experiment. At least once a day. Do that. And it's also see how you impact your own life. Spiritually and as a person. Very powerful. And that's what I told Bhakta a long time ago when I first came here. He said, what's your goal in the late 70s, in the early 80s, our goal as a devotee, we had this very strong missionary spirit. I was speaking with Vrindavan Maharaj about it when he was here. I said, we have a very strong sense of mission. He said, yes, very, very strong sense of mission in the early days. We were all talking about conquering the world. So when Bhakta asked me, I didn't have those lofty ideas anymore. As you get older, you do less. So I said, I don't have big lofty ideas. My goal is just so that every person I meet, I try to touch them in a positive way. Add something positive to their life, that's all. Because that little drop can create a whole tsunami. You never know. Never know. And Krishna brings us together for a reason.